This is the question asked in today's skillrack daily challenge. So in the first line of our input, we are given two integer. The first integer represents the initial amount, that is the opening balance, and the second integer represents the value of n. So the value of n is nothing but the total number of transactions. So here it is 5. So after the first line, we are given 5 lines of input, and in every line we are given two integer. So the first integer represents the transaction amount, and then the second integer represents the updated balance amount. So now, using these n transaction values, our task is to find out whether the transaction is a credit or debit. So the initial balance is 5000, and in the first transaction the transaction value is 1000, and then the new updated balance is 4000. So the balance has been updated from 5000 to 4000. So the user has taken 1000 rupees from the bank. Only then the balance will be reduced. So the current transaction is a debit. So in our output, first we are printing the opening balance, and then for the first transaction we are printing debit 1000, and the new updated balance is 4000. So that is how we should be printing in our output. Now let us see our transaction 2. So here the transaction value is 500 and the updated balance is 4500. So the previous balance amount is 4000. So from 4000 the balance has been updated to 4500. That means the user has deposited amount. So the particular transaction is a credit. So here in our output we print credit 500 and the balance as 4500. So this is how we will be printing. Now let us see our third transaction. So here the transaction value is 400 and then the updated balance is 4900. So the balance has increased. So again we print credit 400 and then balance. And in the fourth transaction, the transaction value is 900 and the updated balance is 4000. So the balance has reduced. So we print debit 900 and then balance 4000. So the last transaction is 2000. So from 4000 the balance has been updated to 2000. That means the user has taken amount. So we print debit. So debit 2000 and the updated balance is 2000. That is the remaining amount. So similarly we will be solving our sample input 2. Here also we are given the input in the same format. So again we have to print whether the transaction is a credit or debit transaction. Now let us see how to write a C program for this. So first I am creating two integer variables named current amount and n. So the variable current amount is the opening balance, that is the initial amount present in the bank, and then the variable n represents the total number of transactions. So in the next line I am accepting value of both the variables current amount and n. And soon after accepting our input we have to print the opening balance. So the opening balance is nothing but the value present in the variable current amount. So in the printf statement I am printing opening balance and I am printing the value of the variable current amount. So that will be the opening balance. And now we have to accept the n transaction values and check whether it is a credit or debit. So I am creating a loop that iterates from 0 to n, and in every iteration I am creating two integer variables named transaction amount and balance. So that will be the two inputs will be given in every iteration of this for loop. So in the scanf statement I am accepting the input of the transaction amount and balance. And now we are going to check whether the current transaction is a credit or debit. So if the balance is greater than current amount, it means that the balance has been increased. So whenever the balance is increased, the current transaction is a credit. So we set the variable current amount as balance. So that will be the new balance amount. So current amount is equal to balance, and after that we will be printing credit and then the new balance. So near credit we will be printing the integer transaction amount, and then the new updated balance will now be stored in the variable current amount. So we print current amount. So this is for credit transaction. So in the else part we perform the operations for debit transactions. So if it is a debit, then the balance should be subtracted with the transaction amount. So that will be the new balance. So I am setting current amount minus is equal to transaction amount. So the balance will be updated. And in the else part again we print debit, near to which we will be printing the transaction amount, and then the new balance will be stored in the variable current amount. So this is how we will be updating the values of the variable current amount and check whether the current transaction is a credit transaction or a debit transaction. So now let us check our program with some sample test cases. So this is our sample input 1. And for sample input 1, we have our expected output here. So in our output also we get the same. So first we print opening balance, and then the first transaction is a debit, and then credit, and then again 2 debit transactions. So now let us check it with our sample input 2. So for sample input 2, this is our expected output. So again we get the correct output. First we are printing opening balance, and then 2 credit and 1 debit transaction. So we get the correct output. So this is the logic behind today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.